Hi students, this is Visalakshi from Coimbatore. Today I am going to introduce you to a different session, a module on residential space designing dealing with safety and security in buildings, HMI and BAS. Citing many socio-economic problems, migration and some such reasons, people feel that they are not affordable or housing is not affordable to them. Either they are not able to afford or housing is not affordable to them. But actually it is not so. But many of them live in marginal and submarginal houses where safety is a question mark. But by the end of the session, you will agree with me that our own activities, what we do and what we try to get it, all matter when we talk about safety and security in buildings. Let us have a look at it. Housing is not merely provision of a shelter. Type, adequacy and design of house help protect health status and also the psychological well-being and social vigor of the inmates. WHO expert committee had outlined 6 major health needs to be met in human dwellings as guiding principles, among which 5 are greatly significant. The housing aspects planned have to focus on these issues and facilitate their provision and implementation to protect and preserve the health of the residents. This session delineates the measures that can be adopted. The 5 major health needs: appreciable housing environments, safe and secured living provisions, prevention of home accidents, building automation system concepts. Let us start with the first guideline: protection against infectious diseases. Inhabitants of a house need to be protected from infections and the consequent bouts of communicable diseases. Due attention to housing environment and facilities provided are crucial for achieving this objective. It can easily be achieved by efficient planning of the following spaces and services and building the structure accommodating them. Their provision for potable and safe water supply, amenities for appropriate sewage and sullage disposal, safe and hygienic solid waste disposal facilities, proper drainage facilities, spaces for personal and domestic hygiene, ergonomically designed kitchen, and structural safeguards like ventilation. The second one is protection against injuries and toxic substances. Residents of a house also need to be protected from possible injuries and poisoning. Protection should be ensured by incorporating admissible features on structural aspects and furnishings, indoor air quality, chemical safety, and safety in the activities carried out. How can structural features and furnishings contribute? What do admissible features on structural aspects and furnishings mean? To protect the health of the inmates and to reduce hazards, primarily one should be careful in the selection of the building, site, structure or type of housing to be raised, number of floors and the furnishings preferred. Hence, caution should be exercised in planning the aspects presented in the slide, namely type of housing, high-rise buildings and their pros and cons, safety in the kitchen, selection of furniture and furnishings. How can type of building ensure protection? Let us see. Irrespective of one's socio-economic status, within the means, one should plan for an appreciable design or plan and stable construction techniques and durable materials to ensure the necessary comfort zones of safe, dry and comfortable dwelling units. These factors, if considered, will influence greatly the satisfaction derived. These can be achieved by giving attention to 5 important aspects in planning as listed in the slide. Similarly, high-rise buildings, which are the only options in many urban places, are also troublesome if not planned properly. Living in multi-storied apartments has become a trend of recent years. Though they are much preferred for space-constrained reasons, compactness, safety, security aspects, urban neighborhood, etc., they pose a lot of special hazards to residents. What are the hazards or problems? Primarily, if not properly designed, it can expose people to direct threat to life and limb. With increase in flows, they run high risks during emergencies like fire or gas leaks. Power failures and consequent cut of elevators or their breakdown, mechanical failure are causes of great concern and stress. Turbulences due to storm, high winds, storm water, and seepage are situations of additional strain and stress. They may be cause of physiological and psychological strain and stress for elderly. Many apartments are built with partition walls which do not ensure soundproofing, and the inmates may be left with limited privacy. Children are deprived of play areas and recreation spaces for others. Many elderly and physically challenged family members suffer feelings of isolation and lack of social living. Ensuring safety and security in these structures then would depend on type of residence, gender, age, preferences, and limitations. To ensure safety in such places, ample thought and planning should be given, especially to the design of the staircases in the designing process itself. Almost 16 practical measures, as you see listed in the slide, are suggested to ensure the much sought after safety and security in these places. They increasingly enroll design suggestions that can be incorporated in the plan and construction of staircases, fenestrations, that is, windows and other openings, services, prospects for safe exit of fumes, gas and smoke, and emergency exits. Ensuring safety in the kitchen being a known fact, yet a revamp on how to tackle the problematic issues is worth a mention. See what we can do. Kitchens have been designed to ensure safety as well as efficiency in work. It should be well lighted and ventilated. Both natural and artificial sources have to be provided. Avoid glare and shadows, which are causes of accidents. Flooring should be easy to maintain but of non-slippery materials. Provide storage at appropriate heights. Permit free exit of fumes, smell from the kitchen without circulating in the interior. Exhaust fans, chimneys, flue and electric hobs can be of help. Provide proper electrical outlets accessible by homemakers or they cook, but not by children. Access-free water faucets for cooking and cleaning are a must. Definitely, assurance for these in the kitchen can reduce accidents and unnecessary events. Next, I wish to jump to the next important aspect, ensuring protection, that is the selection and use of furniture and furnishings. Though this aspect is not accorded the needed importance, it is highly essential that residents practice caution in the selection and use of them. Safety considerations have to be vested on the selection and use of furniture and furnishings like upholstered seating arrangements, mattresses, pillows, cushions, curtains, draperies, rugs and carpets. Frequently, they are made of synthetic materials which are inflammable. In addition, they also contain materials which give out toxic fumes. For instance, insulators which have formaldehyde and are toxic binders and adhesives. Similarly, pressed wood mostly found in modular units also give out fumes in the long run. From safety point of view, great care should be taken when using metal furniture and corners, fixtures, furniture ends with sharp corners, glass products and the like, especially in families with elderly members and children. Other aspects mostly ignored but are to be considered include discarding defective ladders, use of fire retardant materials and provision of insects for laying doormats. Improper maintenance of such things and lack of adequate water damp proofing will render presence of these products highly dangerous to the inhabitants of these interiors and will pose unsafe environments for healthy living. Having comprehended the importance of these aspects, take it as your social responsibility to create awareness among others to be cautious about them. Will you do it? The second major aspect included in the guidelines to ensure protection from injuries and toxic gases is indoor air quality. What are the sources and how are they used? Cost. 7 research proven reasons are there. Have a look at the slide. Materials used for constructing the building, finishes used, flooring and roofing materials, insulation provided, plumbing and wiring materials, all may at times act as pollutants in an interior. Exposure of individuals to known toxic materials like lead paints of high VOC, asbestos, certain plastics, polymers and synthetics occur only because of their presence in some form rendering the space toxic and irritating to the user. Many air pollutants are also found in houses like oxides of carbon, nitrogen and sulfur, radon gas, formaldehyde, ozone, creosote, mineral fibers and organic compounds. Human habits like regular breathing, that is inhalation and exhalation, and use of tobacco for chewing or smoking, especially in crowded places, will affect the safety component in a house. Studies prove that passive smokers are more affected than active smokers. Pollution due to fuel consumption is the next most important point of concern. Inefficient cooking devices, methods of cooking and heating using wood, charcoal, crop residue or agricultural waste in open hearth are typical of rural households, which subject people who inhale in the vicinity to air pollution in the interior. Unless proper ventilation is provided, such polluted air gets recirculated, especially in forced air heating systems and tightly insulated buildings. Pollutants from outside in higher concentrations also may get trapped within. Such buildings cause a condition called sick building syndrome in residents. Shared accommodation, that is, it's a common practice in metro cities, and slum dwellers should be ever cautious about impending emergencies like fire, open flames and fumes from disposal of waste, as they would have only minimum ventilation and air circulation facilities in their humble dwellings. Prospects for stagnation of water, high humidity, waterlogging and seepage in floors, walls and ceilings also render the places unfit for human habitation because they can nurture microbial growth, which in turn pollutes the environment. Selection and use of quality building materials, proper planning for ventilation and circulation, and avoiding use of products that are not recommended for use in building like asbestos, which has been already banned, and preventing overcrowding can greatly help to maintain appreciable air quality in an interior. The third major aspect is chemical safety. This is an aspect about which even urban population is ignorant of. Components in cleaning agents, especially those used for utensils, flooring, bath and toilets, room fresheners, airborne agricultural or garden chemicals, including the residues, polluting surface and groundwater, clothing and footwear are factors very often ignored. Chemicals used in repellents to eliminate nuisance from mosquitoes, flies, rodents, cockroaches, etc. highly affect many people health-wise. Educating people on the ill effects of using such chemical agents and creating awareness on safe use of such products have to be taken up as a social endeavor to help people ensure safety in their houses despite using them for practical purposes. The measures stated in the slide may help curtail negative impacts from these. Stop using plastics, which are precursors of dioxins, which are carcinogenic. Avoid reuse of non-recyclable plastic bottles and containers, especially of cleaning agents. Storing them at home without caution can be most unsafe with small children around. Storing them out of the reach of children is recommended. Some agents may even cause blisters, poison burns, and may even be fatal. Presence of industries, refineries, foundries letting out exhausts also contain chemicals which when inhaled are toxic to individuals. Perfumes and certain cosmetics used for personal grooming also contain chemicals which can affect those who are vulnerable and sensitive to them. So practice caution when you spray deodorants or perfume in places when sensitive people gather. The fourth aspect is flexible use of home as workplace. Many entrepreneurs, contract laborers, and self-employed people use their home environment itself as their workplace. If so, proper conversion factors have to be practiced in such ways that homemaking and vocational activities do not interfere with each other. The same situation in rural areas should envisage control of health hazards from agricultural activities and tasks related to animal husbandry. Correct mistakes before they become episodes. What can we do? Storing of materials for the vocational activity, finished products, disposal of waste, and facilities for other employees, etc. should in no way affect the safety and security of the family members occupying the house. Monitoring pollution prevention from all sources and being vigilant to hazards occurring from mechanical, chemical or human sources can be of great help. Congested living facilities combined with occupational requirements have to be under constant vigil for unexpected outbreaks of fire. The fire accidents, which happen many times in houses which store explosives, chemicals for firework production, as cottage industries in Shivagasi, Tamil Nadu, and numerous home-level BD makers in various parts of the country are best examples. Their livelihood matters themselves become their enemies. All these facts discussed till now are the ones about which maximum concern has to be bestowed to ensure protection of the inmates from injuries and poisoning. Next, we'll see about the third guideline, namely efforts to minimize psychological and social stress as a protective measure. Home is considered as an abode where the family seeks rest, relaxation, and peace of mind from all external influences. Providing the right ambience for them to endure the least stress of both psychological and social origin receives priority. Assurance of ample personal space in the house for each family member prima facie ensures their social and psychological development. Cramped living hinders with a person's self-development and expression of potentials. House should promise a place for privacy, intimacy, free expression, peace, and quiet needed by each member. It should be a place which fosters personal and social interaction and encourages social cultural functions within the family and the neighbors. In urban, cramped living spaces, members find these highly lacking. Overcrowding, lack of security, and uncertainty of tenure, especially in rented houses, exposure to excessive noise and pollution, survival challenges, personal feelings of comfort and discomfort, coupled with unhealthy surroundings, attribute well to one's experiences of mental stress. It's often said that a poor household environment perpetuating psychological stress is the origin of people who emerge as social elements. Measures to curtail such depressing situations have to be thought of. How can poor housing impact human behavior and activities? This is a real headache for all citizens in an area. It needs explanation. Poor housing where an inmate lacks desirable comfort zone and socioeconomic deficits eventually nurture people with poor mental health who turn to violence, crime, and addiction to vices as a measure of challenging their plight. Such conditions also may entail susceptibility to vulnerability and to diseases, including depression. Migration and maladjustment to new environments resulting also from exploitation from house owners cause similar reactions. Something has to be done to curtail such situations. Of course, these ideas can work out wonders. What are they? Ensuring strong families association, support in the house and affording the much needed social networking. Providing adequate healthy living space promising reasonable degree of privacy and comfort. Giving a sense of personal and family security along with community support. Affording space for recreation, play areas, community centers, halls to promote healthy personal and social interactions and knowing each other. Seeing that such common places are a part of the natural environment, that affording a secure place, though out of one's home, and provision of a smooth transition, especially for those who had migrated to urban sites from rural setups. The next point of concern is the techniques of designing appreciable housing environments. If when satisfied, would probably gratify all other requirements. There are 17 such aspects as shown in the slide. These factors more or less cover all the points and principles to be followed in planning, stakeholder responsibilities, duties of local governments and civic bodies, and personal bearing for responsibility to ensure safety and security. Only if all go hand in hand can these aspects be satisfied. For this, an understanding of safe and secure living provisions is a must. What are they? Apart from ensuring security from thefts and natural calamities, there are certain other aspects that require incorporation in the plan itself to ensure safety in the house. They are essentially aspects that help in fire safety and prevention of accidents and loss of property. First one is fire safety. This is a unique issue warranting special attention in all processes, that is planning and designing, construction and in maintenance. Measures should focus on both prevention and control. Episodes of fire can be prevented by installation of correct fire protection system and safe structural design. There are 5 principles that can help prevent and control fire. They are: prevent outbreak of fire, provide for early detection, prevent spread of fire, provide for prompt extinguishing, and provide for immediate evacuation of people. Along with that, you have to have a control in use of defective wiring systems too. Apart from these, there are three aspects that involve voluntary action from all individuals. They are leadership building in residence to react spontaneously to the emergency, safe and well-maintained firefighting equipment ready at hand, safe practices of work by individuals so as to prevent a fire prima facie. How is fire caused? Major causes of fire in houses happen due to carelessness of the family members or use of unsafe materials in construction, insulation, wiring and plumbing. For this, one needs to identify the causes of fire, which can be numerous, and the possible ways of preventing an event. There are several other causes too, as given in the slide. You will come to know about very trivial things that can cause a fire accident. Human behavior and activities and faulty construction works share almost equal responsibility for fire episodes. Can these be prevented? Envisaging episodes of fire and taking preventive measures is the most intelligent way. Later in an emergency, people have to depend on presence of mind and prompt action to curtail further spread and reduce damages to individuals and property. Hence, 4 techniques to be incorporated in construction phase are suggested, which in their purview offer viable practical hints to prevent an episode. They are structural safety measures, emergency exit provisions, provision of services, and exclusive fire safety provisions. Many of the measures can be easily accommodated in the planning stage of the building itself. Let us see what each technique has to say. What are the viable structural safety measures accommodated or recommended? Include barriers like firewalls, baffles, dampers, shutters, etc. to limit or curtail spread of fire. Design fire-resistant structures by fireproofing of building or use of fireproof materials. Select and use materials seeing to their ignitability. Provide proper access to building and firefighters. Spacious parking with ample clearance between parked vehicles. Properly built and exclusive staircases which will not be a hindrance during emergency evacuation. Glass doors of non-splinter safety glass with adequate marking. Two-way switches for stairs and entrances. Of course, all these are very practical hints for people in the construction sector and those commissioning a new project. Next, let us have a look at the hints for emergency exit provisions. Incorporate well-maintained exits. Provide broad exits without narrow sections, sharp corners, illit gateways, narrow landings, and inadequate space at foot of stairs. Enclose staircase and fire-resisting walls. Give openings or egress through 5 doors. Indicate clearly all exits. Ensure well-lighted exits along with emergency lamps. Avoid use of exits as storerooms cluttered with all trash. Avoid wooden stairs, spiral staircases, and use of ladders which are unsuitable for exit purposes. These ideas, again if given the due relevance, can definitely help prevent fire accidents. Third aspect is one which is not respected much in Indian constructions, that is provision of services. What are the expectations and how can the lacuna be rectified? Provide lifts of adequate capacity, speed and number. Provide for an alternate electric circuit or generators, especially for lifts, fire hydrants, passages and staircases. Envisage and facilitate emergency power supply for lighting the passages of egress. An emergency light should automatically illuminate the exit flow in the event of an episode and consequent power failure. Ensure handy, reliable personnel, young and smart with prompt reflex and fire training. The facts hitherto therefore highlight on access to both living and non-living resources. The fourth one is something which will beat all others, and that is concern for provision of exclusive fire safety resources. Do you know what they are? Have a look at the slides. They include fire lifts, fire water tanks, fire detectors for smoke, heat and flame separately, fire alarms, sprinklers, fire extinguishers, fire bucket, fire bell and other accessory items like a swinging hose reel, hose box, etc. Have you come across any of these items in your house or other places of your visit? Every building is expected to have at least the basic provisions. Man's attitude and inherent lethargy comes in the way, and more often in times of emergency, people run from pillar to post to catch hold of these devices. Widespread education on these lines is quite imperative. I think you will agree with me. Similarly, do a small assignment. You all visit many places like malls, theatres, etc. Discreetly find out what provisions they have made to face an exigency. If they are not satisfactory, as a regular visitor and as a prudent consumer, you have the right to request them to arrange one, because you may be exposed to danger one day. It is their duty too. By doing so, definitely you will in addition derive the pleasure of having done some social service also. Now it is time to focus on the prevention of other type of accidents. First one needs to analyze how they are caused. Let us see. Accidents happen due to careless human behavior and are environmental factors. An accident is an unplanned act or event causing injury or death to living beings and damage to property. They are known only after they have happened. Hence, the causes are established later. Accidents can occur due to slips, falls, fractures, fire, poisoning, burning and scalding, drowning, fireworks, firearms, choking cuts, suffocation, asphyxiation and electric shocks. Therefore, accidents just do not happen but are caused. Likewise, the situation also warrants finding out why they are caused. Lack of foresight and carelessness, you will agree, are responsible for many such events. Accidents related to work-related activities can happen due to lack of supervision and auto controls, unsafe work environments, lack of safety awareness displays, poor housekeeping, and neglect for ergonomically designed workplaces and instruments, sharp tools or inefficient tools, equipment and appliances which are defective or are of faulty designs and the like. Human behavioral deficiencies like lack of knowledge, intelligence, shirking responsibility, inadequate skill, unsafe or careless behavior, poor work habits, ignorance, inexperience, lack of safety consciousness can also cause accidents. Human error, either due to physiological reasons like fatigue, sleeplessness, alcohol or drug reactions, and or emotional outbursts like expressions of anger, worry, excitement, aggression, carelessness, also may pose as active reasons for an accident to occur. Engaging in work either in office or the home with personal problems like lack of desirable sight and hearing, ill health, both major and minor, coordination impairments, personal issues like allergy, asthma, tremor, etc. may also lead to accidents. Construction-related lapses many a times are reasons for accidents because they provide too many obstructions or too easy access, manifested as poor housing structure, ill-designed window grills and balcony balustrades with large gaps, poor housekeeping practices, uncovered plug points, swimming pools and bathtubs easily accessible to children, haphazardly thrown loose wires, broken glass door window panes, extension cords, lack of preventive provisions like handrails or catches, especially during an emergency. The next culprit is carelessness in storage of dangerous accessories. Pharmaceutical products, toxic paints, household products like polishes, cleaning agents, etc. Agroprotective agents, plastic curtains and accessories which can cause choking, dangling items like a telephone wire or toys which can cause strangling if left carelessly can cause accidents for sure. Other reasons are unforeseen events and unexpected changes. What are they? Unforeseen changes in the work area like a sudden loud noise, machine breakdown, ringing of a bell, sudden distractions, power failure, creating darkness, aspirating fragments, unidentified impending danger. Aspirating fragments, open drains or garbage chutes are quite common yet unforeseen occurrences. Similarly, presence of unexpected agents of change, for example, gas leakage, spilt liquids like oil or grease on the floor, mix of flammable gases, damaged rug, misplaced items like a broom or a knife, glass pieces, all add to the existing ones. Now you will accept the fact that individuals, their activities, poor housekeeping practices and their temperament are to be exclusively blamed for causing accidents. Giving careful thought in house planning stage itself can prove beneficial. In fact, much new advancements in technology extend a helping hand to ensure safety and security even where people are careless, and of course the developments are also on the increase. One such boom is BAS, expanded as Building Automation Systems. Have you heard about them? Perhaps I will explain in detail. BAS is a system that manages in an automated mode the various equipments and sensors incorporated in buildings like heating, cooling and ventilation for improving residents' comfort, reduction of energy consumption and automatic responses in case of failure and emergency, plus above all the safety and security of the inmates. For instance, BAS can sense the temperature of a room, control the HVAC system automatically to maintain the temperature level and minimize the energy consumption. At the same time, detect fire or smoke emitting from a building too. Let us now have a look at the table given in the slide to know about the devices installed in modern houses. All of them are embedded systems, that is, those devices programmed to do only a specific intended task. An embedded system or ES is one that has a computer hardware with software embedded in it as a major component. It is a dedicated computer-based system for an application or product. For example, a fire alarm will detect and activate only a fire breakout and not a theft or intrusion in the vicinity. Their performance is decided as electronic sensor-based embedded systems which function exclusively as human-sensitive devices, human-sensitive systems, intelligent systems and kinetic systems. Many such functional devices given as examples are well known to all of us and we are using them too almost every day. What is not known is that they belong to embedded systems and are part of BAS ensuring safety and security in interiors. Sensor doors, taps, hand dryers, remote control doors, soap dispensers, sensor lighting are human sensitive devices. They function only when there is human intervention. Fingerprint scanners, facial scanners, iris scanners are human sensitive systems and are highly dependable for ensuring safety and security as access control measures. Smart cards, surveillance cameras, fire alarm, smoke alarm, burglar alarm, magnetic cards, automatic lighting, key cards again are intelligent systems as they are professionally programmed for a specific function and get activated only through HMI. Elevators, lifts, escalators, revolving doors, though are kinetic systems, you will know function only with human intervention. Definitely all these systems, if incorporated in the building during planning and construction itself, will give peace of mind to all residents on safety and security issues. That explains why most of the apartments, malls, theatres and other public service buildings like hospitals and hotels have started incorporating them and highlighting them in their promotional efforts. Nevertheless, we need to understand all these are controlled elsewhere and only with proper action from human beings do they get activated, and that is successfully done by human-machine interfaces or HMI. These depict common computing platforms operated by users or those interested with a job like a watchman. Generally, they include monitoring, controlling and configuring devices. The part of the machine that handles the human-machine interaction is referred to as the user interface or human-machine interface. Membrane switches, rubber keypads and touch screens are examples of the physical part of the human-machine interface which users can see or touch and operate. Schedules for operation are stored in BAS. Hence these two, HMI and BAS, work hand in hand during operations. They communicate through local controllers via an IP-based communication protocol. Local controllers sense the device's status and convey information to HMI or BAS. The devices under their control can be fans, lighting, HVAC, doors and other specialty sensors for temperature, humidity, luminance, etc. They are put to multiple uses like monitoring of the environmental conditions, detection of smoke, fire or gas leakages and feedback control. Sensor faucets and hand dryers are recent inclusions in many public places. Dear students, housing provides shelter and fosters all-round development of individuals. It is expected to ensure safety, security, comfort, convenience, socio-psycho-satisfaction, etc. It is in the last aspect that builders and house owners should focus attention on to ensure that all the other factors are taken care of in the planning and building process itself. Once built, making changes will prove risky and exorbitant. Always remember, prevention is better than cure. Your safety and security is but in your own hands. Remember that you and your actions can jeopardize the safety and security requirements in places you move around. Thank you. We'll meet you in the next session.